Good afternoon and welcome to Lariat TV News Today. I'm Kennedy Dendy.
And I'm Melanie Pace. Thanks for joining us today.
Bicyclists, beware. If you're not obeying the rules of the road while riding a bike, you could be in danger of getting a ticket. LTVN's Julia Lorenz learned how Baylor police are enforcing these laws on campus.
Actual bike police? Probably try to beat them in a race.
Now that might not be a good idea. Baylor is now more strictly enforcing bike laws, with 4 officers riding bicycles around campus, and they won't think twice about pulling you over for breaking traffic laws, whether you're in a car or riding a bike. It's all in the name of safety.
I want the community to know that our officers, whether they're in a vehicle or some of our officers who are on bike patrol, they have the authority to enforce Texas law on the use of a bicycle.
I would assume that there are bike laws, but I don't really know much about them. I can't say I know anything about the bike laws.
And that's the problem we have at hand. Bicyclists thinking they rule the road, riding wherever and however they want.
Some of the main infractions that I see quite often, my officers quite often see on campus, are at intersections. Bicyclists do not stop at stop signs.
And that's just one of the laws the state says bicyclists have to follow, just like drivers. Stop at stop signs and red lights, don't go against traffic, ride with traffic on the right, use arm and hand signals on turns, and have white lights on the front and red lights on the back of your bike. Those laws aren't new, but BUPD is stepping up and enforcing them more strictly. Right now, about 400 bikes have been registered on campus, and that number should be higher, which increases the importance on focusing on bike safety. Violating one of those laws might earn you a ticket and a fine, which could be up to a couple $100s. If you are on campus, police can write you a Baylor citation, but if you are off campus, they can write you a ticket to a justice of the peace court, requiring you to resolve that ticket with that specific court.
And even though there was no catastrophic incident on campus, I still thought, hey, I want to be proactive on this, not reactive.
I've seen some really stupid bikers that just kind of like drive out into the middle of the street.
That's dangerous, but now it can be expensive too. For Lariat TV News, I'm Julia Lorenz.
Hurricane Florence has reached landfall on the Carolina coast, and there are many Baylor students and faculty with families that could be affected. Senior Raven Grant is from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and says that hurricanes in her hometown are not uncommon. Although the storm is coming, Grant said her faith in God is what allows her to have peace about the safety of her family. Dr. Pedro Reyes, Associate Professor of Operations and Supply Chain Management, says the path a hurricane takes can be predicted more accurately with today's technology. Florence comes 1 year after Hurricane Harvey tore through eastern Texas, causing more than $125 billion in damages. If you are wondering how you can help victims of this Category 2 hurricane, Reyes says the best way to assist is to donate financially to help in recovery and rebuilding efforts. Multiple Baylor students got a rude awakening on Tuesday morning when they woke up to find their cars had been broken into.
I learned more about this most recent string of car burglaries.
When James Greenwood and his roommate got in their cars to head to class Tuesday morning, something wasn't quite right.
My roommate first found out something was up when he realized his car door wasn't closed all the way, and when he went inside, everything was like tore out of all the compartments and everything was all over. They took my roommate's checkbook, they took my wallet, and they took some cash that I had in my center console.
Sergeant Patrick Swanton said burglaries like this one, which occurred on 9th Street, are often preventable.
Keep your valuables out of sight. We understand that everybody gets busy and you're going from class to class. You may just have a 30-minute break to run back to the apartment or the dorm and grab another book or grab a bite to eat. But we caution folks, keep your cars locked. Keep things inside, out of sight. Put them in the trunk if you can. Get used to putting your book bags. Get used to putting your laptops, your iPads, electronics in the trunk where they can't be seen.
From now on, we're gonna have signs outside our house making sure everyone knows we have cameras, and actually get some cameras and make sure our automatic lights work so they'll detect any motion if anyone comes.
For Lariat TV News, I'm Melanie Pace.
Baylor's campus was alerted to a phishing cyber attack this week that potentially put hundreds of students' information at risk. The attack sent through emails attempted to have students enter their Baylor sign-in information. Once a student entered their ID and password information, similar emails were sent to all of their contacts. Phishing information can be hard to identify, but it typically centers around getting account passwords. There is nothing Baylor's ITS can do to help once an attack has been completed. John Allen, Baylor's security officer and interim CIO, advises students to follow @BearAware on Twitter to stay up to date on security information.
A decision about a new Waco landfill has finally been made after a year of controversy and deliberation. On Tuesday, the Waco City Council approved the purchase of 772 acres in Axtell, just northwest of the city, for the new landfill. Last year, there was an uproar in the suburbs over the proposed addition of a new landfill next to the existing one near Old Lorena Road. When the city decided to look at moving the landfill near Axtell, hundreds of residents protested. Douglas Nesmith, an environmental professor at Baylor, says that with plastics not degrading, landfills are starting to fill faster. With no one wanting waste nearby, Waco is in a sticky situation.
A popular building on campus is celebrating a big milestone this week.
We've got the details coming up after the break.
It's not just a school to me, it's home.
Home.
Everyone's there to help you and to see you succeed.
Challenging.
Challenging.
Like, I'm here, I can do this.
Friends.
Friendship.
Relationships.
There's people that know you and people that are there for you around every corner.
It's the shared experience. Rigorous.
Growth.
Transformative. Tradition.
Tradition.
Faith.
Faith.
I've loved every second of it. It's family.
It's home.
It's Baylor.
Everyone knows what happened to the Titanic, but not many people can say they've actually seen the Titanic in person. LTVN's Caroline Waterhouse sat down with the man behind the Mayborn Museum's most popular exhibit to date, and he's seen artifacts from the ship up close and personal.
Mark Locke has done what most people never imagined doing. He's visited the Titanic.
With champagne still inside. Yes, yeah.
Perfume vials thought to be lost forever held a sweet surprise.
And not only did we see this fragile little glass vials with liquid inside, but at the same moment, the fragrances filled the room. So it was this really powerful experience of this sweet, beautiful scent in the room.
Locke was able to look into the lens of one of the most famous captains in history.
He knew there weren't enough lifeboats on board. He knew there wasn't a ship responding to the distress calls. So it was obviously an emotional, powerful moment for him and for me as well as I looked into his cabin.
Although submerged, the Titanic still shines in a timeless light.
Because of the lighting that's outside the submersible, you kind of get this glow around things. So it's surreal that way as well. You get a little circle of time, and then as it moves and the light changes. So it really is quite personal, an experience and an emotional one for sure.
One key attraction is the famous iceberg that sends chilling sensations to those who come near.
Put your hand on that iceberg and you hold it there and hold it there and realize that most people that perished that night, they didn't drown. They died of hypothermia. That water, because there weren't enough lifeboats, because lifeboats went out half empty at the beginning because people felt far safer standing on the Titanic before it actually then really began to sink, if you will.
For 20 years, Locke has been able to preserve and share one of history's most valued treasures.
It was just an experience that is unforgettable and have taken with me forever. And I've done many exhibits, different subjects over the years, but nothing has been as moving as that journey to the Titanic.
To check out Titanic, the Artifact exhibition, head on over to Mayborn Museum. With Lariat TV News, this is Caroline Waterhouse.
The lives of two Baylor seniors were forever changed earlier this semester. Seniors Ashley Rich and Sarah Ross both interned at AT&T's Dallas headquarters this summer in the HR department. The girls' corporate mentor from their internship, Scott Smith, surprised them during a business class recently and invited them to accept full-time HR positions at the company. Both of the girls met Smith at Baylor's professional meet and greet HR event last fall. Rich advised students to keep an open mind when attending these events because you never know who you might meet. The girls also encouraged students to stay dedicated to what you are passionate about. In 1968, Richard Nixon won the presidential election, Apollo 8 orbited the moon, and Moody Memorial Library opened its doors.
This weekend, Moody is celebrating its 50th birthday.
Moody Memorial Library is much more than a building full of books. Since 1968, the library has been bringing together students from all over campus. To Shay Towers, a librarian, his job is about giving students and faculty the confidence to pursue what they love.
Every student and every faculty member on campus, they have their very own librarian. And so the library is sort of a neutral ground that's home for everybody.
Towers says Moody showcases the new and the old on Baylor's campus.
But I think it kind of ushered in a new era for libraries on college campuses. If you've ever seen photos of the campus's library before that, which was in Carroll Library, where the Texas collection is now, like, it was, you know, busting at the seams, and it was a very traditional kind of library, and this building, kind of in the heart of campus, I think helped create that this is a place for everyone. At the time, it was this massive, new, exciting enterprise. What's exciting about Moody is that it has maintained that tradition, long tradition of what libraries are about, and has continued to propel into new exciting areas.
For Lariat TV News, I'm Melanie Pace.
A sorority is coming back to campus after being absent for almost 15 years. Sigma Gamma Rho, a historically African-American sorority, returned to Baylor's campus this fall. It was originally chartered in 1996, but was deactivated in 2003 because of low membership. Alta Van was the chapter advisor before it was deactivated, and in 2012 she contacted Baylor about reinstating the chapter once more. With the reactivation of Sigma Gamma Rho's chapter, there are now 6 of the Divine 9 NPHC sororities and fraternities now active at Baylor.
A new college pastor and his wife say there's a way to enjoy a typical college life while still finding time to walk with God. LTVN's Caroline Waterhouse has the story.
This is good. He wants you to know how unconditionally loved you are, because that is truth.
You know, you can't have adventure without risk.
Antioch College pastor Luke White and his wife Rachel may be stepping into a new adventure, but they are well familiar with the church and Baylor.
Do you know Jesus as a person, and as a person who loves you dearly and wants that adventure, wants that friendship with you, and once that gets established as a true part of a person's identity and life, then that begins the adventure of a lifetime.
The Whites set examples to college students every day by being true to themselves and sharing their stories.
It's pretty easy to talk about the past, and we do so not flippantly. We do so because we want other people who maybe have a similar story to know that there's hope for them. And there's a scripture that says that we're redeemed by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. And I really believe that our testimonies of brokenness and destruction, being set free in Jesus, and now walking and living an adventure with Him is good news to people, and stirs hope in their lives.
The couple continues to share their adventures with the community as they persistently seek to further follow God while sharing His message.
His love for you doesn't change, and that He will always remain faithful because it's who He is.
The Bears have another home game coming up tomorrow and could potentially go 3-0 on the season.
We've got Sports with Noah coming up right after this.
It's not just a school to me, it's home.
Everyone's there to help you and to see you succeed.
Challenging.
Like, I'm here, I can do this. Friends.
Friendship.
Relationships.
There's people that know you and people that are there for you around every corner.
It's the shared experience. Rigorous. Growth.
Transformative. Tradition.
Faith.
I've loved every second of it. It's family.
It's home.
It's Baylor.
Baylor takes on the Duke Blue Devils this weekend in a battle of unbeaten teams, and one concern for the Bears is how they'll match up against Duke's defense. A big part of that is Baylor's talented group of wide receivers. Though the 2017 football season was disappointing for Baylor, there was a bright spot: the wide receivers. The Whiteouts are on another level this season. The two leaders of the group, Jalen Hurd and Denzel Mims, continue to show why they're one of the best groups of receivers in the nation. But what makes them so well respected? As Jalen Hurd puts it, they're unselfish.
We're the most unselfish wide receiver corps in this country, I guarantee it. Because if you just look at the way we block and how we play, we're different than anybody in the country.
The unselfish nature of this group is, well, different. They block for their running backs, run their routes to perfection, even if the ball isn't thrown their way, and they want the best for their team, not themselves.
But they all seem to support each other. They all seem to push each other, and what that allows you to do is, as a head coach, or when we're calling plays, allows us to be really aggressive because they're going to go out there and lay it on the line for each other and also block for their backs.
Make sure to catch the receivers in the team this Saturday, September 15th, as they take on the Duke Blue Devils. With Lariat TV News, I'm Noah Torr. The game is at 2:30 on Saturday, so make sure to be out there, bring your clear bags and your Baylor pride. Now moving on to Lady Bears basketball, there was a little shakeup with the team earlier this week. Sophomore point guard Alexis Morris was dismissed from the team on Tuesday after an undisclosed violation of team rules. Now what does this mean for the team? That means that new recruits Honesty Scott Grayson, LSU transferred Chloe Jackson will take on the bulk of Morris's minutes. NEB Media reported that Morris had asked for a release from Baylor and was seeking opportunities to transfer on Monday. Now the Lady Bears kick off their season with an exhibition game October 25th against Langston in the Farrell Center. Now moving on to soccer, they beat the 23rd ranked Butler Bulldogs Thursday night at Betty Lou May Soccer Field 2-0.
We need to have a pivotal moment. I think we made our mark here. That this is our pivotal moment coming after a loss, saying we need to do something to change, to go forward, and I think we did that today.
The first goal was scored by Juliana Cunningham in the 37th minute and the second by Reagan Paget. Cunningham now has 3 goals on the season in less than 200 minutes played. Baylor goalkeeper Jennifer Want had her 3rd shutout of the season, and the Bears defense only allowed 1 shot on the goal in the entire match. Baylor heads into their final match of non-conference play against Rio Grande at Betty Lou May Soccer Field on Sunday at 2. Volleyball packs up and heads to San Antonio on Friday for a 2-day tournament. After beating the number 2 ranked Wisconsin Badgers last week, Baylor lost to Rio Grande but beat Rice University in 4 sets last weekend. To put a cherry on top of an already spectacular week, outside hitter Yassiana Presley was named Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. The Bears take on UTSA and Virginia Tech this weekend. And that's all I have for your sports update today.
Thanks for watching Lariat TV News Today.
We'll see you next week. Have a great day.